Happy New Year, everybody. This is Dan O'Sullivan with your Bucks Island area fishing report for the first time in 2026. It's January the 3rd, and we're checking in with you here. We're also going to check with our usual crowd. We're going to talk to Tom, Lee, Gentry, and Tracy and see what's going on their bodies of water as we turn into the new calendar year. We'll be right back with what the guys have to say. And we are talking to our good friend Tom Mott. Going to talk a little bit of Lake Guntersville bass fishing and crappie and whatever else is biting. Tom, baby New Year's at it, diapers, the whole deal. What are the fish doing?
Well, I'm telling you, I don't look a year older yet, but it is a year longer, so something like that. But I'm telling you, Dana, we've gone through some weird changes out there on the lake here in the last week or so. We've had
Yeah.
really warm temperatures, warm nights that really raised that water temperature up. And I'm telling you, for the bass bite, the guys that are bass fishing, this was a fantastic thing to happen, especially at Christmas. So everything that people got, for their Christmas presents, they were able to go out and utilize. And, the rattle traps have been really, kicking it. A jerkbait still catching some fish. That rattle trap, the chatterbait up shallow, and I'm talking in the 4 foot range, has really been producing. I think that's going to be a little short lived, as we are in the wintertime. But, my theory on it is the water temperature rose so quickly that the bait just got up in the grass and the bass got up there with them. So it was really this past weekend and week was just crazy with the bass bite. Uh, as far as the crappie bite goes, it really hurt that bite. As far as what I was doing, I think it just hid the bait more, maybe hid the crappie. But with this cold weather coming in, I think we're going to be right back where we were, and we should be back on track for the wintertime bite. And coming into the springtime with the crappie anyway.
This time of the year, I remember a lot about Guntersville. It seems like when it starts to get cold, those fish kind of slide off into those little drains and the little indentions in the banks, and a hopped lipless crankbait, a lift and fall on
Oh
a
yeah.
rattle trap is really good. Is that the kind of deal you're talking about?
Exactly, Dano. I mean, those fish just really moved up, and I guess they're dropping back probably at night or something, but really moving up into the grass areas. And just that rattle trap, that little quick movement, just making a little reaction bite has been spectacular. And again, like I said, just kind of slow reeling a chatterbait through there has been nice as well. But it's still wintertime fishing, so the mornings start a little slow. It gets better as the day goes on, so on. But hopefully we're going to get a little bit cold weather and we can get a little bit more crappie fishing in the boat, because we're just around the corner from spring, guys. Tournaments are starting up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know the Elite Series is going to be there that first week of February, so we're looking forward to that. Tom, as always, brother, Happy New Year. Thanks for what you do. We'll talk to you again next week, my friend. Hey, it's January the 3rd, and we got Tracy Robinson joining us. Tracy, calendar's turned. What's going on Logan Martin and Lay Lake?
Yeah, Coosa River, still catching a few fish on it. We'll start at Logan though. This week, had some pretty cool nights there, midweek there, but it didn't just kill the bite; it slowed it down a little bit. But the water temperature's still up there around the 50-degree mark, so it's still not really, what you consider winter temps. Still catching them on the same baits. The bass bite, is a little slower this week though with the crankbaits. We're still throwing the crankbaits around the red clay banks, the chunk rock banks, around the docks, and coming around the docks, picking up chatterbait occasionally too. But that flat-sided crankbait still seems to be the better bite. Using some orange and a little bit of red, some crawfish colored baits around the chunk rock with the crankbait. So you can get bit doing that, but it's not fast and furious like it was, in the past few weeks. But there's still fish to be caught. The forward-facing sonar out in the middle of those channels, there's still guys out there catching a few fish. I see them, occasionally with the bent poles out there catching them, doing the forward-facing sonar and the minnows out there. I didn't jump out there and try it, nor did, a couple of the buddies that I fish with, but I know that's still going on. So the crappie, still seeing the crappie. I mean, they may even be bunched up a little more. It seems to be that number is growing a little bit in that 8 to 12 foot range on those brush piles. Seeing a lot of crappie stacked up in some of those brush piles in that 8 to 12 foot range. Jigs, 32nd on the piers and 16th out there a little further out on the brush piles. But that bite's still a lot of the guys catching the crappie on Logan right now. At Lay, a little bit different situation there. The forward facing sonar is definitely the number one thing going on there right now. Both the tournaments that I talked to the guys in, that's what's going on there. The 18 to 22 pounds, mixed bag of spots and largemouth chasing the bait balls out there. And it's not big wolf packs of bass on them. Usually it's one or two, maybe even three or four occasionally. But just find the bait balls and look for them eating on the shad and whatever bait you like throwing. I saw a couple of guys catch them on the Alabama rigs. The minnows are still working good, but I don't think the bait matters so much as opposed to just getting around those bait balls and find some fish that are eating on it. The crappie's still in the timber there. I think they're going to stay there throughout the winter months. I don't see that changing any, but I'll keep giving a report on those each week. But right now they're still in that timber. Vertical fishing for the crappie at Lay's is the deal. Minnows or jigs, either one, but vertical fishing in the timber is the key.
Sounds like that grass bite may have finally kind of started to slow down for a little bit here in this cold weather.
Yeah, that's the first time in a couple of weeks, maybe even months, that I haven't mentioned grass right out of the gate there, and
Yep.
not myself or anybody that I've talked to is catching them in the grass right now.
Brother, we appreciate everything. Happy New Year to you and the family, and we will talk to you again next week. And we're joined by Baby New Year, Lee Pitts, who's going to shine lights and throw some fireworks up in the air to help us figure out where all these fish are on Neely Henry and on Weiss Lake. Let's start on Neely Henry. Lee, Happy New Year to you and to Miss Laura. What's going on our lakes?
Happy New Year, guys! And like I said, we've settled into that winter pattern right now. It's the fish are doing about the same. Well, I'll start with the crappie end of it because they're a little bit better than the bass right now. They're still out holding tight to that brush. Not as much on the dock poles as they have been. I think with some weather issues that we've had some cooler nights this week and had a lot of high winds, so these fish have backed off a little bit. Still more of a vertical type deal. Live bait a little more than it has been the jigs just because of the wind. You can go with a heavier weight and keep that bait down there on that brush. Crappie bite's been pretty good. It's just the whole thing is they're out on the river, they're out in the open water, and you need it to kind of slick up a little bit to catch them. Little chop's fine. A lot of wind's not good.
And the bass bite on Neely Henry, I'd seen that there were some guys that saying during our little warm spell things were good, but that's probably been pushed off a bit, right?
Yeah, they've changed. When it warmed up, that water temperature jumped up. It jumped up more than I thought it would. Even with the nights and everything, that the water temperature got high for wintertime. It jumped up there pretty good, and the fish kind of moved. They got on that wood cover. Uh, Felt like chasing a little more. Now we've had that hard cold hit us again, so they've slowed down. They've kind of bogged down, got lethargic on us, and you got to slow down and just peck on them.
All right, turn to Weiss Lake. What's going on up there?
Pretty much the same. It's one of those things that we're still having a lot of our crappie. I'll start with the crappie first right now because that's kind of what I'm targeted on. They're out there in that 8, 10, 12. Even some fish still out in that 20 foot of water, holding on what wood they can find. Seeing some fish schooling up in the creek channels, but most of it is out there in the open water. They hadn't made that move yet to start trying to get towards the mouth of some of these bays and things like that. Everything's kind of just hunkered down right now in the river and the creek channels out there in that deeper water. The fish we're catching are good fish. It's a slow bite. Once you get them stirred up a little bit and can kind of get on, especially your more vertical stuff. That's some of the old standing timber that's there, some of the things that we put out with Alabama Power. They've helped us put a whole lot of canes out the last couple of years, and we've got them in 5-gallon buckets. You can see them on your graph. You can get all the locations of this through the with the chamber and with Weiss Improvement Association. That we've got several places out there, and most of them have 8, 10 different spots on them in a wad. So once you get there, you can kind of beat around on some. They're holding tight in there. They like that cane. They can get up against it, and it's some wood cover, and it's more straight up and down where you can get a bait through it.
Brother, we appreciate everything. Sounds good. We'll talk to you again next week. Hey, joining us on this January 3rd, New Year's edition, we got Gentry Gordy going to talk a little bit of Lake Martin and Jordan Lake fishing. Now, Gentry, I know things have been decent because of that warming trends that we've had, but those cold snaps kind of send everything off into a little bit of haywire at times, do they?
Yeah, they do, Dano. And we'll start back at Jordan because, a lot hasn't changed. I mean, the weather was nice and then it got cold, but, those fish are still doing the same thing. And, really and truly this time of year, until we can get a big rain that'll muddy up that river, um, that's what you're going to have to do to be competitive and even catch, your numbers of fish is, look out front with A-rigs and jerk baits and minnows and all that stuff. It's just the nature of it right now. Now, of course, if we get some rain and muddy it up, then we can go back to big, ugly spinner baits and red square bills and stuff like that. And you can still get bit doing that, but it's pretty dominant up on the river and in the canals right now.
Yeah, and I'm sure that forward-facing sonar deal is big, maybe with an Alabama rig or a minnow right now, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And you even see some of those guys, because you always hit a lull during the day doing that. That they'll go right over to those steep banks with a ball jig and or like a heavier shaky head stuff like that, and some of those little eddies and blowdowns and stuff, and still catch some really good spotted bass.
All right. Well, Lake Martin, that's Clearwater Lake too, and but those spots there will respond a little bit better to that colder weather.
Oh yeah, they do. We've talked about it on here before, man. It's something about those Lake Martin spots. That cold weather does not really hurt them much. They either gone, Martin's notorious. You can catch 100 fish one way one day and go up there the next and never even see one. But the weather just don't affect them as much as it does on other lakes. But did talk to a buddy that was up there the other day and said he caught a good amount of fish on a jerk bait. And this time of year, I do it a lot more, especially in the mornings, late in the evenings. But he said it was just an all day thing. But he would just find the bait, throw the jerk bait over it, and he said they were really coming up and knocking that jerk bait and stuff around. I asked him about an A-rig and stuff. He said I'm sure it just didn't throw it. But yeah, it's just that's you want to get in some of those bigger creeks and look out and see if you can find the bait and still hit your trash piles and stuff like that on your way in.
Yep. Keep looking deep on those trash piles too for them crappie because they're out there. You find them, you're going to load up the boat. Gentry, as always,
Absolutely.
brother, we appreciate everything and Happy New Year to you and the whole family. We appreciate what you do. Well, that wraps up our Bucks Island area fishing report for the first time here in 2026. Hey, folks, we are getting ready to open up here again right after the new year. We'll be open come on Tuesday. Come see us if you're looking for that new boat for the new year, if you're looking to keep yours running, or if you're looking for that special tackle item that needs to put a few fish in the boat, or some of that apparel and sunglasses to help keep you comfortable into the new year. Folks, you are the best part of what we do at Bucks Island. We appreciate you and are thankful for you, and we will talk to you again next week.